Welcome to video number 2 in our 3-part series that we are doing with Jack Bourne of Deadline Funnel. Now, Deadline Funnel is a powerful piece of software that helps entrepreneurs make more sales in less time by creating an authentic deadline for whatever you are selling online. But as we revealed on video number 1, not only is Jack one of the leading software developers online, but he is also one of the leading strategists. In fact, Andre Chaperon of Autoresponder Madness has been quoted as saying, when you talk to Jack, he will literally blow your mind. He is one of the sharpest minds in direct response marketing. So we are truly lucky to have him here today. And today, Jack is going to share with us so many gold nuggets if you have a dream and you can't wait to share it in the world. In fact, he's going to share a story on how he launched his first product and it made him $28,000 in his very first month of sales. He is also going to show you how you can navigate your business around problems that you cannot personally solve. You do not want to miss this interview, so let's get right to it.
So there was a friend of mine who I had known from another job in Miami, and his name is Mike S. I'll leave the last name out. And so I remember a few months I was running the idea by, hey, I think I want to do web design stuff. I didn't have the experience of web design stuff. And his comment right out of the gate was, man, web design, man, those guys are a dime a dozen. You'll never make money doing that. And there's this long pause on the phone, and he said, that sounded kind of negative, didn't it? And I said, yeah, man, that did. And I said, I think I gotta go. And that was just the end. I mean, we didn't speak again. I wasn't like mad, but it was just like, I'm going on this journey.
Right.
I don't need someone who's going to be
negative,
telling me all the reasons why this shit isn't going to work.
And what year was that, too, that he said that?
Well, this was 2011. This is right around
2011. Okay.
I'm sorry. 2001.
No, 2001.
I was thinking 9/11.
Yeah.
2001.
2001, which we certainly know there was plenty of opportunity for web development back then.
There's still opportunity in it. I mean, it's a different beast than it was back then. But So I guess the reason why I wanted to tell that story was that it's really important to guard your emotional well-being, because it's a tough journey. You don't need people in your life. Sometimes sometimes you have to say goodbye to friends and relationships if you're going to make this journey, because you don't need. Imagine if you're rowing in a boat for land that you believe is over the horizon, and you got someone in the boat who's not paddling. They're going, "You're never going to find it."
Right.
Get the F out.
Right.
I don't need this.
Yeah.
By the way, I had another friend at the same time. It was almost in the same week. A guy named Scott, who had a business selling cell phones. He had invested and had a Nextel dealership. Again, dating myself, but anyways, you can look it up on Google. But anyways, Nextel dealership, and he needed a website. And he said, "Man, I'd love for you to build me a website. How's $1,000?" Which at the time was like, if he had said how much, I would have gone much less. So for me, it was the complete polar opposite. One guy in the boat saying you'll never get there. Another guy saying, "Hey, I'll help you row."
Right.
And so those are the types of people that you need around you.
Yes.
Are the people who, even if they can't hire you, even if they can't help you, they're like, "Man, I believe in you." And so that's really, really important. So anyways, where do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, that's really cool. So I want to go more into the web development just for a little bit. So that was was that like your first big break to where somebody said, here, I'll actually pay you for this? And how did you go about finding clients in the beginning, and how easy or hard was it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge, but you sort of, as an entrepreneur, you have to have this attitude of, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so you can, especially in today's day and age, there's so many things that you can just go on Fiverr, 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 or Upwork, or any of these places, and you can, if you don't even want to do web design, I mean, people will do a website for $20 for you. Like, it may not be the best thing in the world, but you can get it done. And so there's all these different resources that if you have an idea of here's my vision, I just don't know how to make all the tiny little pieces, like how am I going to do a website, how am I going to set up an email autoresponder, there are so many people that are just willing to to put this stuff together. And there's so many resources that you can either be taught or learn how to do these various things. So you just have to have this attitude of this. I think this makes sense from a business perspective. So I'm going to make this happen. And then you figure out the parts that, you either figure it out by putting in the time and investing the time to teach yourself, or you hire it out. If you can afford to hire it out, oftentimes I recommend hiring it out. You probably should learn enough to know the difference between, like if you want somebody who's going to do, like, write a content blog post for you, you should probably have an idea of what is good work versus bad work. If someone's going to write email copy for you, you should know enough email copy to know, even if you're not good enough to write your own emails, you should know, did I get good stuff or did I get garbage?
Yeah.
And so I think you need to invest in your education, at least to know, who to hire, what does expertise look like. I did that for a year, and finally my wife came to me and said, honey, this has been awesome that you've been doing this for a while, and I see that you're super passionate, but I think it's time to see if people are going to pay for it.
Right.
I said, yeah, you're right. So before there was this term of a product launch, before that even existed, I basically did my version I was just going by instinct. I did my version of a product launch. So I set the price, sent out emails for like 6 days. Few people bought, most people didn't. And I said, screw it, man, I'm going to shut this thing down. I'm going to be true to my word. And so I started shutting accounts off. And all of a sudden, people started showing up with credit cards going, wait, you shut off my access. And within 24 hours of shutting people's access off, $28,000 came.
Wow.
And then it wasn't, so some people paid up front annually, some people were paying monthly. And so that really was my monthly ongoing income for like the next 5 years.
That is fantastic. So that's pretty amazing. You made $28,000 in the first month of selling this, but you went free for a year. And I think that's important for a lot of people too, is because they look at the internet and they kind of see maybe that's the holy grail of making fast money and riches. I think it's important for everybody to know the more you can afford to grow and get a following, I think down the road you'll grow faster if you kind of wait.
Yeah, so I did a lot of things wrong, but again, I started, and so that's the whole thing, is that you got to start, fix the mistakes as you go along. But one of the reasons why I did it free for so long is because I needed to build up both sides of the equation. So in your typical business, I wouldn't do it that way. I wouldn't do free for an entire year. But to your point, I would highly recommend that for most people, you want to keep your main source of income while you're building this on the side, because you want to have the staying power. You don't want to burn out because you can't fill up your car with gas, or you can't put food on the table. But at the same time, I would say it's okay to be uncomfortable. One of the, I hope that one day I run into my last boss that I work for, and I don't know how to do this in a way that won't offend him, not that I care about offending him, but I truly have gratitude for the fact that he was such a crappy boss. Because if I had been comfortable and well paid, why would I have left?
Yes.
But I wasn't making enough money. The guy was horrible. I hated the guy. And so, that pain and discomfort was what I needed to get me out there and trying something new. And so I truly have gratitude, and I would like to tell him I'm really grateful that you were so awful. But not doing it.
Thank you for being terrible.
But not doing it in a way that he thinks that I'm trying to, twist the knife.
Sure.
Because truly, like, everything that I have and I've become, it was started because working for him was not cut out for me.
Well, lots of times the inspiration comes from some pain in your life and something that okay, I don't want this anymore. And most people, unfortunately, kind of stick with the pain because there's a certain amount of comfort with it, like at least I'm getting a paycheck. So to jump off and just do your own thing takes a lot of guts.
I want to pick up on that. There's a great, and I'm gonna substitute the actual word with the abbreviation. So there's a great book I highly recommend called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. But it's the actual word. And so I would highly recommend, and so that word is used a lot. If you're easily offended, you won't like the book, but I suggest that you get past that because it has a lot of important lessons. And one of them is basically that you have to choose your pain. There's no way of avoiding it. You know, you have to choose your pain, and it's not really a negative thing once you become zen about the whole idea that to do whatever. So you're either going to have the pain of the self-discipline, the daily habits, the routine, the effort that you put in on an ongoing daily basis, doing the things that are going to build tomorrow's success, even when people aren't looking over your shoulder. Because when you're an entrepreneur, people aren't looking over your
That's
shoulder.
so true.
So you're either going to have that pain, or you're going to be one of the many people who look back on their deathbed or before their deathbed and they wonder, man, what if?
Yeah.
What could I have done?
Yeah.
How would my life be different if I had taken that choice, the road less traveled? And there's no way around it. This isn't me saying you have to choose. Like, you're either going to like, if you don't choose to take the action and the discipline and the effort now, you're choosing the other one.
Mm-hmm.
They're two sides of the same coin, and everyone has to choose. Just a lot of the people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis never actually take that decision out and look at it and go, what should I choose? And you, by the way, you have to make that choice not just today. It starts today, but you have to make it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. You know, and so most people just shuffle through life in this catatonic state, and they wake up one day and they're like, holy crap, where did my life go?
Yes.
Yeah, it might have been, you know, filled with fun times and bad times, but I think deep in their heart they wonder, you know, was this it? Like, is this all that there was? And there's so much more that's waiting for all of us out there, but you have to actually put in the work. It's the daily stuff. Do you want to jump in? Okay.
I love it.
Okay, so I believe it's the book Good to Great, which, by the way, as a book, I didn't particularly enjoy the book, but there's a metaphor in the book that I really love, and it's this picture of this giant wheel that's on this axis. So if you imagine, you remember at the playground, I don't know if they have these anymore, but I bet you lawyers have prevented these, but it's the giant wheel with the things on it, you spin it, like everyone spins around.
Yeah,
So imagine
I
one
know
that's
that.
even bigger, and it weighs tons. So when you, like, if you push against it, push, and it barely moves. I mean, this thing is a huge metal thing on a barely greased axis. But after 5 minutes of pushing with all your might, it starts to go just a little bit. And so with that little momentum, you get it going a little bit more. So I'm painting the picture that it just takes a ton of effort just to get this thing moving even a foot. But with each foot, with each inch, it gets easier and easier and easier. So you start pushing this thing. And now you're kind of trotting along. You got some steam going. You got this thing spinning. And then all of a sudden you're having to keep up with it because now the whole thing is going under its own weight. And then someone walks up and they're like, holy cow, man, you really got that thing spinning. So was it the first push or was it which push was it that got this thing spinning? Mm-hmm. It's a nonsensical question because it's every little bit of effort adds to the effort behind it.
Right.
And that's what growing a business or having a successful marriage or raising successful kids is all about. There's no guarantees, but the one guarantee that there is that if you don't put in the effort, you're going to get the default result. And so every single day, it's putting in the effort. And I think to bring that to, like, what can someone who's watching this do? I'm a big believer in having daily habits, especially early in the morning, for kicking things off right. And it doesn't matter, I can give you what my daily habits are in the morning, but I think the important thing is to have daily habits and to actually do them, not just listen to me and go, yeah, that's a good idea, and then go on to the next YouTube video.
Yes.
Like, what are you, the person watching, what are you actually gonna do tomorrow that's different from today? Because if the simple fact of the matter is that if you don't do something tomorrow different than what you're doing today, you're not changing your trajectory.
Very cool. I think that this was a great way to start. I did joke with Jack, I don't know if this is gonna be 1 video or 3 videos or 5 videos after our start. I think this is kind of a good start as far as, you know, background. Everybody's got their own background story and how to get started. Then once you're getting started, the mindset of everything. So I think it's very powerful. One thing I want to talk with you, maybe as we go back, I know Jack's got a meeting here, we might do this on the court or at his place, but I want you to talk to people about the tactical triangle. Are you impressed that I know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's going to help a lot of people out there as far as really knowing how to properly build a business and what the formula is to being successful online. So there you go. We'll be back with a tactical triangle.